I'm sure that a lot of marketers listening to this podcast are probably nodding their heads in violent agreement because the reality is we are on a hamster wheel. A lot of marketers have to produce those MQL, and that is, for better or worse, the key metric that their performance is assessed upon. And they know there's a better way. They know that experimenting with different channels and different kinds of tools is a more creative and more interesting way to work. But at the same time, there's a lot of pressure on marketers to perform. And I put that in quotation marks. And that's why, generating leads and feeding them to sales and BDRs and SDRs is the common approach. How do marketers break out of that? How do they do prospecting that is more efficient, more productive, and more successful?
Long story short, I think that you should stop doing prospecting altogether and that you should just do good marketing or good modern marketing. And basically, the way I see it, prospecting is the worst kind of marketing where it's essentially you're annoying buyers with telemarketing, email spam, and LinkedIn spam to get them to speak to sales. And that's essentially what the SDRs are doing. That's what prospecting is. And so today, companies have a mixture between prospecting or this old kind of worst type of marketing and then modern demand gen. And so I see that SDRs and demand gen are like competing against each other for budget and resources and to see and who's doing the right good type of marketing, who's doing the wrong bad type of marketing or the outdated type of marketing. And unfortunately, a lot of marketers and demand gen have to support the SDRs. While demand gen are doing all these good things like content and social media marketing and ads and events and all this good stuff, at the same time, they have to support the SDRs to do their thing. And so that's where a lot of marketers are frustrated and are on this MQL hamster wheel. So what an MQL hamster wheel is, and what MQL really is, it is marketing or demand gen is forced to constantly generate a high volume of contact information of uninterested buyers so that the SDRs can go and annoy them with prospecting. And that is why marketers have to either buy this contact information through content syndication or list purchases or whatever, or they have to gate their content, which we know is terrible, and produce, crap content, a high quantity of it just to try to get someone's email or their telephone number, ebook downloads, or you're hosting events, webinars or panels or summits just to get someone's contact information so that then you then put them into an SDR cadence, which is awful. You're trying to woo buyers by putting out content only that you can then hit them over the head with an SDR sequence so they get turned off and they tune out and they don't keep coming back for more. So it's really, really bad. And that is why marketers are often held accountable to this MQL thing, because they have to feed the SDR or they have to feed that sort of machine, as opposed to marketers being held accountable to the metrics that really matter, like revenue and qualified pipeline, the number of sales, qualified opportunities, and cost per opportunity, conversion rate, sales cycle, cost per acquisition, payback period, all that type of stuff. If marketers were to be held accountable to that, it would really expose how bad prospecting is and how bad SDRs are. And so what I recommend today is, like, a lot of companies don't realize how bad prospecting SDRs are because they don't distinguish it or separate it from the rest of their marketing efforts.